It's the Code and Character podcast with Bevan and Ivan talking about all things, all of it, Odoo, Drupal, the comparisons. I've been building some Odoo stuff, having a lot of fun and a lot of freaking frustration and missing the Drupal days and finding the comparison. So I'm going to come here and talk to Ivan about what I've been experiencing there and possibly talk to as a Drupal developer working with Odoo and a lot of shortcuts using ChatGPT. So I've produced a lot without knowing much about what I'm doing. It's a really interesting experience. I feel like I've done like a whole web team's worth of work in a while, and it's fascinating. Take what you will from
absolutely. Well, yeah, this episode for anyone who has who's had the privilege to watch all of our previous episodes, is going to be a little different because it is Bevan going through this Odoo stuff, and we talked about it previously, but he finally messaged me and said, you know what, let's just jump on, and we literally just jumped on and started recording. So I'm keen to look at this Odoo stuff because it's a topic that I looked at as well because of the open source nature of it. But Bevan, why don't you start off and just explain what Odoo is, just so everyone knows?
I can say it in 3 letters. It's an ERP. What are they?
Oh, you love acronyms, don't you?
I know.
ERP.
Let me try and remember. It's enterprise resource planning, right? Which is code for it does everything. It's right. So, and that's funny enough. It does. That is one of the nice things and one of my gripes about it. Right, probably one of the leads into one of my main issues, like because it's coming from a Drupal developer. Drupal's PHP, Odoo's Python. I've never really been much of a Python developer.
Oh, it's Python, is it? Okay.
Yeah, code's code. Which the interesting differences are it runs daemonized in a single session, which Drupal doesn't. You know, like Drupal's PHP. Every time you call a page, spin up a new session, close it down. You got to keep sessions open. Odoo just sits there running. It's a little bit different. It's Postgres native, so you've got transactions and rollbacks and database commits, which took me a bit. These are things that I'd read about. Like as a PHP developer, I was aware that they existed, but didn't really realize people used them. You know,
but the thing is, though, before you get into it, so I've got the Odoo site right here, okay, and I'm looking at some of the icons. To call this enterprise resource, what is it, ERP? I think it's a lot more than that because you have, for example, and I believe all of these applications are open source, but they offer a hosted solution. Is that correct?
Yeah, they've it's like GitHub, like GitLab. There's the enterprise solution.
Absolutely.
And it seems that since about version 16. It's the amount any Odoo people watching who think I'm wrong. Come and tell me.
Oh, don't worry. They will tell you when you're wrong.
A lot of the features that were in community have slowly just been not support. Like the company that puts most of the effort in just doesn't do the updates on the community editions anymore.
Okay.
There's the Odoo OCA, the Odoo Community Association. Keeping that up to date, but it seems like Odoo the main company puts most of their effort into the enterprise version, and so slowly features drop off, and then the community has to come and put it back in. And you're not allowed to copy the enterprise ones because they're private up. You've kind of got to build them again from scratch.
Licensing, because I can see here they have platforms to build forums, live chats, e-learning, spreadsheets.
Do you want to screen share? I'll see if we're gonna kill something by screen sharing because I got that window up.
There you go.
Boom. Let's see what happens.
Well, let's switch over to here. Screen. Not there. Let's switch over to this one. There we go.
There it is.
Look at that.
Good job. Make it bigger. Oh, wrong. Got to zoom the web page.
Yes, that's
not the video.
That's your end.
Right. That's big enough. So yeah. That first one, that's the counting. That's what I wanted.
Yes.
Right? Because I had stupid dreams of going, I want to build an accounting system to do, or I want to do listings management for my eBay business and probably do a bit of accounts. So I was going on install commerce. I can integrate that. The very last minute, I sat down with like, oh, I've got a few hours to spare. I'll go set that up in Drupal. And the last second went, that's ridiculous. Try this Odoo thing out, and completely changed and went down the Odoo path and had accounting up and running in about half an hour. And then another 6 months of
the good old open source is like, look at this. This is open source. It's free. You can do so much. And the last 20% takes 80% of the time.
Yeah, no, that is absolutely the experience.
Yeah,
entirely. And then doing it all wrong and realize you did it all wrong.
Oh, okay.
Right. Because what I installed, there's a community company called Cybrosis built the base accounting kit, which was supposed to put a lot of the features back in. I installed that module. I used it for a while, and then a couple of months in, I decided I hated it and wanted to rip it out. But then it's gone. This is like working on a site with live data, and it's changed the schema. It's added tables. It's added columns to tables. Ripping that out was a nightmare. So that's something I'm living with and laying down ways to resolve. I'm actually working on an exporter to export all my data so I can import it into a fresh new site, right? Because I want it nice and clean. I think they'll hold me stead with a SaaS product moving forward.
Yeah.
Then customers got data. I can add features onto a new one, and when I'm ready, export the data, import it to the new one. We're all good to go. I think, which I'm not used to doing with Drupal. Same reason, right? Because it has things like post and init hooks, which are just like Drupal update hooks.
Yeah.
But the same kind of, so you can change schema. But because I'm keeping it self-contained, I don't have people using the modules that I'm managing. So it's like I can just write a script that updates the data or connect. Like it's really nice to have that kind of control. I don't have to write update hooks on a module, because in Drupal, after a module's 10 years old, you've got like 15 update hooks changing schema for each.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm such a purist. I hate doing that. Like, because I just don't like having code there that does nothing.
Well, then you wouldn't like
it runs once and never runs again.
Well, pretty much every framework writes like, what is it, migration scripts or something. Whenever you make a change, whenever you make a change to the schema or put in database, like what is it, active records in like Ruby on Rails, they all have that. Like Laravel does the same thing as well. You run a migration.
Yeah, they all
script.
do.
They all do.
But that's what's interesting being a Drupal dev and learning Drupal. How much the same it is, but it's different. Like I said, it's Postgres, it's daemonized, it's Python. But then you suddenly go on shit. I mean, I've got the same problems I had before. I want to change the schema. I've got live data. Same canonical database deal. Like it basically, you pick the database up, you move it. Yeah, which I hate. I always hated it in Drupal. I hate it in this. But it's nice working on. But these applications, I wanted accounting, and it's got knowledge bases, CRMs. It does. They're enterprise grade. I think they're trying to compete with Wix and stuff. They're advertising on YouTube. Their paid advertising is very much, you can build a website, right? It's not really what it does. You see the website app down here, right? But it is like, you see it's like it comes with these applications and you think that's great and it's modular, but it's not. It's not modular because there's so many there's a dependency web. Like you turn on accounting, it automatically comes it comes with mail, right? And mail, because mail does your chatter and does your comments and your logs. So especially in accounting, because you need to keep a log of all the changes, put notes on things. So the mail module handles that. So the mail module itself is a big monolith that does chatter, does notes, sends out, does SMTP, but it's all in one big module. But then accounting expects you to have onboarding. So onboarding is a module that allows you to go through like an onboarding process as a user, like set this up, connect this here, connect this to get yourself up and running. So there's a dependency from accounting to onboarding, and there's functions in accounting that kind of are hardwired into onboarding. So you can't, if you've got accounting, you get onboarding, the end, too bad. That comes, same with Portal. It's got a thing called Portal, which allows users, so you can get like anonymous users or guest users rather, be able to see their invoices. So you like make an invoice, so you want your customers to be able to come and view their invoices you've got. So they call it a portal. But it comes with accounting. And here I'm building this for eBay resellers. And I go, I don't even give invoices, let alone needing an entire system for my customers to come and see invoices. So at this point I've forked it. Right?
Oh, okay.
But that's how you work in GitHub. See, I'm from Drupal, where I'm used to patch files, right? And we work through Drupal's infrastructure on Drupal.org. But this is all on like GitHub, right? So that's when you want to
but patches
still want to work on it.
But patches, you're not forking it. Do you remember? Oh, this hasn't come up for a while, but remember the saying? And I think people, when the world got a bit funny, they kind of stopped saying that. But it's like every single time you hack core, a kitten dies or something. Do you remember that? Like back in like the Drupal 6 or Drupal 7 days? No, whenever you
remember the big don't hack core.
Yeah, exactly. But patches. But to be fair, with Composer and things like that, Composer and also the patch management with the that patch package where you can manage patches.
Swagins.
Yes.
Quagins.
Which there was finally a version 2 released. They updated it on version 2. Like that makes life a lot.
That is my A-tier top list favorite tool ever. Is that Swagins patch management? That changed.
Let's not forget the OG of all of that. That was Drush Make. Do you remember Drush Make, where you could literally
I didn't like
YAML file, you can define your patches. Okay.
Well, because I hated Composer, but then Composer patches came out and you go, all right, I like Composer now.
Yeah. Well, Composer with me is still, I don't like it. And it's kind of one of those things where you just keep banging your head against the wall until it kind of works. So you're kind of like just changing things like, does this work? Does this work? Okay. For some reason, it's not updating a certain package. I'm going nuclear. I'm going to delete the lock file.
I swear Composer doesn't speak English. It goes, you've got a dependency problem. Decode this alien language, right?
Oh, yeah, that's it.
I hate that. But see, ChatGPT's changed lives because you just paste it in ChatGPT and it goes, you're missing this dependency. Oh, thanks.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, absolutely.
But you see, there's a difference there. I'm managing my contrib modules in Odoo with Git submodules. But there's some tool you can use to pull different bits of different repositories together and package it up. It's got Git Packager or something.
Yeah.
Right? But that's a big difference. Like PHP's got Composer. Python's got bullshit. I think Python's package management is...
Well, it's got a package manager, right? I think it does because I see it.
Pip and wheel.
That's right.
But it doesn't really... But it installs into your system rather than... Composer just installs right there into your repository. Yeah. You've got it tracked. You do have a requirements.txt. Pip seems to install into your system rather than into your project. So I might be just stupid.
No.
Because I'm not a Python dev. Not a Python dev. But see, that is one of the differences. The way you manage, like the. If you want to compare this and PHP's pack, I miss Composer as much as I never liked it because it used to be so goddamn slow and complicated, right? But like it's like, why can't I just in bloody? And then also there's a very, very much a culture of monolithic nature in Odoo. You go to Odoo's, even the OCA, you get libraries of modules, not a module. Right, so you go to a Git repository and there's like 30 modules in it. So if you want one, you've got to clone the entire, right? You don't have to clone the entire thing, but if you're going to do a Git submodule, so it's like you have a Git submodule, you get these 20 modules just because you want that one of them, right? And that's but I do find a real dependency web. That's accounting. You get Portal, then Portal depends on a bunch of other, and it's almost like as soon as you turn accounting on, all the other project because. You turn Portal on, and then Portal depends on like CRM and document management, and then so you turn accounting on, and you've got CRM and document management. Of course, the dependency web's in there, and it's like that's why I come back to going. It is an ERP. It's enterprise resource planning, and it seems to be because I'm totally out of the culture, but it seems to be a case of it's an enterprise resource planning. Of course, you want those other things. What's your problem? Right, and it's like, but I only wanted the accounting module because I'm building it for eBay resellers. They're not enterprise. They don't need employee management and payroll. They don't have. Most of them are just mum and dad selling stuff out of their bedroom. That's who I want to build something for. So I'm finding going back to that forking it.
Yeah.
Because I think you kind of do, like you go and look at the forks of Odoo, there's 30,000 forks.
Wow.
Right? Because it's not 30,000 different projects that people have deviated from. It's just if you want to submit that's how GitHub works.
Yeah,
We just don't do that in Drupal. Right? You fork it and you open a PR from your fork to their fork. But then that's what I said. With Composer, we do, you basically download a patch file. So you end up patching every project I've worked on. Don't hack core, but you end up hacking core just via a patch file, which is fine because it's documented in that sense.
Well, exactly. That's it. Yeah. I mean,
why does a repository on GitHub where you can go and view the diff, why is that any different? That's what I've never really realized until I've gone and I've forked it. I've gone, all right, I'm going to make these changes. And I go, well, now I can see that just like you see a list of patch files are applied, I can see here's the diff. I don't really see, though I've made some significant differences because I went through the account. Didn't want Portal turned on.
Yeah. So
I had to rip out a bunch of functions that that wouldn't run if Portal wasn't turned on. Like the functions were trying to call out the Portal. So yeah, the dependency just seems backwards.
Yeah.
And so already it's like my software architect's brain's going, there should be a bridge module there that can be the communicator between the two of them. And I just really want to make that bridge module because I don't want going around in my system using security groups or CSS or other little hacks to hide stuff, right? Better sort that out. So anyway, this is funny, a little experience. Some of that dependency stuff's probably the gripe with. There's some real architectural things, probably, and that's what I said to you in an email. I think we've been spoiled a bit with Drupal since Drupal 8. So much work went into cleaning things up, and I'm just in Odoo and it's going, oh my God, why is this built like this? Like that. And it's legacy stuff that got designed back in 2008, like that's, and it's still in there and it's just, that's my life in IT. It's like, why are people living with this? Like that's, but that's the life of sort of the corporate world too. It's not on anybody's huge priority list because get features out, deliver things. The client needs this, the client needs that. And cleaning up architecture doesn't have any quick, it's got very good long-term results because it becomes, but there's no urgency, so I'm kind of finding that a little bit, come from Drupal where I had similar kind of gripes, but you come into Odoo and you go, oh, the same gripes times 5, right? Just because it hasn't had that cleanup. But I mean, it's pretty good. I sound like I'm ragging on it, but for what it does, I mean, I don't know if I want to, I don't know what else can offer me that. I think there are other tools that do the accounting thing, but I mean, it gave me full on enterprise grade accounting. I found that a lot of the accounting rules, it's targeted at enterprise.
Yeah.
It's very strict in its accounting rules. There were some things I tried to do from an accountant's perspective and it said no.
Okay.
This is me talking to ChatGPT, like, what should I do? It goes, just add a move to connect it here. And I go, Odoo says no. And it's like, all right, because now you've got to set up a clearing account. There's like very, very strict accounting rules.
No, okay.
Some of those things you're technically allowed to do as an accountant, but there's the very proper way to do it, and Odoo enforces it. But probably for its own data integrity too.
But also legality.
My opinion's
as well.
coming from sort of, yeah. And then so I'm sort of trying to work with, because what I'm trying to build is something for eBay resellers where I keep reminding ChatGPT, what I'm building is something that an eBay reseller doesn't need to think about, and their accountant says yes. So I was almost planning to make those two roles. Normal reseller logs in, they just see, I want to take money out, I want to put money in here, I sold this, I sold that. And then it puts proper accounting moves, and the accountant can log in and see journal entries and journal items and all their list of accounts and all that. So because it comes with that full-on enterprise grade accounting built in there. That's what it does. But then it comes with everything and the kitchen sink too, right? I don't want to build websites. I don't need help desk, right? I don't need this Discuss thing I turned off. There was the Discuss app I'm sitting on there, which is basically, see, it comes as part of that mail module, the Discuss app's basically like Slack in Odoo with instant messaging and Slack channels and all that other stuff.
Oh, so it's not like a forum or anything. I thought it was more like a forum.
No, it's more like a real-time, like Discord, Slack style chat interface inside Odoo. But if you want to send email through SMT PHP, the mail module provides that, and discuss, and you can't just turn it off. It's like you get it all.
Yeah.
And there's no setting to turn it off. It's just there, right? So then you can start hiding it with CSS or putting hacks in it, and that's like, so I'd rather it wasn't there, I guess. Which see, this is the thing that probably some people love, because that's if you're selling to big enterprises, it is a one size fits all. It's like, we're going to give you Odoo, and you get your accounting, your CSM, your knowledge base, your document management, your website, your point of sales, right? And then like, I only want the accounting and probably the inventory management. That's it. Yeah. You know, like that's so I kind of,
Yeah, and come back to your thing about, but Drupal can do this. Like, yes, it can do that stuff. But one thing I've recently been kind of struggling with Drupal is that I'm using it to build out kind of like systems for my business, like back-end stuff. And a lot of the look and feel, a lot of what makes a system useful is, the look and feel. That's what I was trying to get to, is the way it looks, is all of that stuff. And Drupal doesn't do that out of the box pretty well. Like, yes, you can do all your content models. That's great. But to then glue everything together, you need to have a nice front end, because I want to be able to see a list, all the content which is related through a parent entity reference field. But I want that to look nice. I want to be able to see it in like tabs, so I can have different types. That is all front end work. Like, the back end's the easy part, but that's where I'm at now, where I'm trying to like glue all of it together. And I have hit some, I don't want to say roadblocks, but I've been trying to do it the non-codey way. But at this point, I'm thinking, you know what? I think I'll just do it at the template level, do it all in code, because then at the same time, if you do it in code, you can use AI. And that's one thing I've kind of realized, that as soon as you do everything in Drupal's backend and you do it through Drupal's UI, you really can't use AI. Like, yes, you technically can use Drupal AI and create your agents and stuff like that. But a lot of my stuff is, I want AI to build out a nice Tailwind, using Tailwind. Here are the components. Here's the Drupal theme. These are the variables that I'm going to give you. You do everything yourself. And so that's where, sorry, I'll just finish up. But that's where I was saying, it's like, Drupal gives you a lot out of the box. But when you kind of glue things together, you then have to do the front end. And that's where Drupal kind of drops off at this point, I think. Because so many times I've been thinking to myself, it would be great to kind of just do this, this, and this. And it's like, in React, it'll be like that. It'll be so simple. But in Drupal, it's like, okay, is it a block? Is it a view? Well, no, we can't do, so how do we do Ajax-y stuff? It's like, as soon as you change that paradigm, that's
Odoo I found really nice out of the box. I've not had to do a lot of front end stuff, because I don't even know how to explain how it just works, in a sense. I've seemed to find it's got so of course Drupal, you kind of think about entities, whereas Odoo's got models. They're kind of the same thing. Right? But then just watching when I plug my power in, it didn't plug in properly. My battery's getting low. What am I trying to say? But yes, but it seems to be like, because you just open up a model as like a class file in PHP, and you go new field name, and it just pops up on the UI. No boilerplate. You just add a field of type reference, very short, 3 lines of code. Boom, there it is. I'm not sure. Drupal's just like kind of, you got to add it here and register it there, and pick a widget and get all the 50 settings on the field exactly right to get it how you look. And this just kind of plugs to, you just put a field on there and it just magically shows up with views. You don't need to register a view. You just go, here's a new, and you do define a lot of stuff in XML, but similarly, so you also can do a lot of configuration through the UI, which I did a bit of at first, and then wish I didn't, because it's so easy to define it in a XML file.
Yeah.
But your module turns on, and exactly what you were saying. Now I can feed that XML into ChatGPT and go change it, and it's all audited, it's tracked. ChatGPT can just rewrite the view. Mind you, it always seems to use version 16 APIs, and you go through the same thing over and over again. You go, that's deprecated, do it this way. you start to learn how Odoo's modern frameworks work, because ChatGPT makes the same mistake over and over and over and over again. That's an interesting. Anyway, I've got to plug why my computer didn't plug in. I don't know. Hang on. Now we're back. Hang on. Now we're on the right. I'm back.
Yes. That's it. Yeah. All right.
Yes.
Perfect.
Professionalism.
Well, surprisingly, in Restream, I get a little, which is actually pretty cool. I get a little mute icon when there's no audio coming in from you. So,
yes,
good to know.
Hey, technology works sometimes. See, that's one of the things I wanted to talk to a little bit, because Odoo does the same thing. A lot of abstraction around stuff. That same thing. You get there's so many tools these days. Docker's the same. Is you get the 95% use case out of the box, and as soon as you deviate off the happy path, you're in a world of hell, right? And I seem to just deviate off that happy path all the damn time, because it's like, I just want to do this thing. I should be able to connect this to that. And you go, oh, people don't usually do that. But I'm always just wanting to do something that seems obvious to me, but no, we haven't accounted for that. But even Docker, weird things like for years I've been looking at Docker when you're building, and it's got those weird little flowing log files and it's all blue, and I'm like, I don't know what the blue means and everything, until eventually I discover like the what's it, log type equals plain, and then now it just dumps old, and now it all makes sense. I'm kind of, for years I've just been bamboozled by all Docker's output, and I'm like, it's kind of one of those things. Why is it opt out? Why is fancy logs opt out? Like Odoo, why is coming with all these modules? Why do I have to get in and opt out? Like, why there's so many technologies today that the desktops on Linux. I moved from I got tired of the rolling releases on Manjaro, because my earbuds broke when the update ran. Because one library updated, the other one hadn't been updated yet. They didn't talk to each other, and it's like, oh, okay, now I've got no Bluetooth until they update that module again. So I'm sick of that. I want to go back to something stable, but I don't want to go back to Ubuntu and GNOME, because I was on that for years, and that's just, so I'm like, trying to find that middle ground with, can I go to Ubuntu and put like, what do they call it? Distro box. So you can run a distro in a containerized environment thing. So I can run Arch and Manjaro in their own container. So I can get the latest stuff from Arch repository, which I haven't tried yet, but then I installed KDE Neon, the distro, which is Ubuntu with the latest KDE. And then I was having trouble with SSH keys, because the KDE wallet wanted to manage them instead of the SSH agent in the background. And see those little ways, as soon as you deviate off the happy path? It's like, it spoke to my phone really well. It does emails great. It's got really pretty pictures. It's got all these nice integrations. As soon as I wanted to do a developer thing like configure my SSH key, nightmare, right? So I ripped that out, and now I've gone to using Ubuntu with XFCE, like old-fashioned, old school. And it's the thing. If you want the fancy stuff, you can install it, but it's not turned on automatically. And I'm like, I'm happier now. Been trying to find that medium ground, and there's so many. Feel like Docker's the same. It's like, here's all the fancy stuff. We've turned it all on for you. And it's like, I don't even know what it is. Right? I kind of, now you're forcing me to learn about all these extra switches that I want to turn off. Because it's just, it's like the magic box. Here it does everything. And that's what Odoo's a bit like that. Here it does everything. And you go, yeah, until I want to change something. And now I've got to learn all that. I'm working on a bit of a blog post about that whole abstraction thing. I wrote about it in the Drupal Slack the other day. Like that's, because like what you've got, right? DDEV does everything out of the box. That's all strong. And then you've got to know Docker Compose to go in and not only know Docker Compose, but you've got to know how DDEV works with Docker Compose. Be an expert on Docker Compose to fix it. Now, if Docker Compose goes wrong, you've got to understand the internals of Docker. If Docker goes wrong, you kind of got to understand the internals of like containerd and run C. And it's like, so why am I using, at somewhere there's a medium ground. I think there's but no one's like that. So, but that's the whole world's full of all this abstraction upon abstraction upon abstraction, which is supposed to make it simpler until it doesn't, and now it's 100 times more complex. Of course, now you've got to know all these layers. I've always had an issue with that. And I don't know if there's a solution, but I think spreading awareness about like really think about your abstractions. But there is a lesson. Like if you're a new dev and you want to play with DDev, I strongly recommend you work your way up from the bottom. And man, because but I don't work that way. I jump into DDev and then you come into work one day, DDev won't boot. Now you're learning Docker Compose. Then one day you work with Docker Compose and that won't work. So now you're learning the internals of Docker. And now I can actually say underneath it is containerd and run C, because I've had to go down to that level to learn it. Like you end up learning it anyway. But that's the whole IT industry rewards speed, right? It does.
Absolutely.
We want it done now. And speed. And it's like, but that speed comes at a cost. It always. I've complained about that before. Like the kind of, to go faster, you got to go slow sometimes. The racing analogy.
Yeah.
Just come to a corner and put your foot down on the accelerator. That's a really bad idea.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got to use the brake, right? That's
Well, I like the analogy. I did see, funny enough, on LinkedIn, I did see a photo of, and apologies to all the vegetarians out there, but there was a photo of a cooked chicken, and one had, cooked it at like 1,000 degrees for 1 minute, and it's totally burnt. Cooked it at like 200 degrees. Sorry, that's degrees Celsius, the proper temperature. Celsius. Sorry for our American listeners, not Fahrenheit, but then
Celsius and Fahrenheit.
Then if you're like, well, actually let's cook it for 2 hours at like 180, you get proper, a nice thing. Absolutely. You can't just chuck speed at it. It's kind of like the good old, and I've had this before where I've worked in teams and my team was awesome. Everyone gelled nicely. We all worked well, and then we had this big project come in and we're like, sorry, we're not going to be able to deliver it as quick. And they're like, okay, so how many more resources do you need? And it's like, it's not like that. You can't just throw resources at, like, there is a certain point, and I do remember reading up somewhere where there is a certain point to the amount of, especially when it comes to developers, like having like 3 or 4 good developers, you can build out a lot of stuff. As soon as you get beyond that, then you have to maintain it. You have to manage them a lot more. You have to kind of, the velocity. Now, apologies, I sound a bit like a agile t-shirt sizes and stuff like that. But yeah, the velocity drops considerably, because then you have to deal with, just managing people. But to come back to your question about, abstraction, I remember when I started in like my web development days and, playing around with like the first version of like the beta version of Ruby on Rails. And I think it was even version 1 of Symfony. They would often have all the Ajaxy stuff wrapped and abstracted away, where you would just write Ruby code in Rails to like update things and then, update stuff through JavaScript, or in Symfony 1. And this was version 1, because that's what I played with the first time. You would, if you wanted to do like fancy drag and drop functionality, you would just use PHP to essentially do it. That was great until things broke, but I didn't know JavaScript at that time. So for me, it was kind of like, this is kind of a black box. And sometimes I feel like, look, it's actually good. Like, just show me how to do it in JavaScript. Like, sometimes I would often look at documentation and it's like, don't give me a wrapper on how to implement this library in React or Vue. Show me just the simplest, like, remove all abstraction. Show me the simplest way I can run this library and what I can do, and then I will figure out the rest. But that just comes from experience, really.
Yeah, it's interesting. You're reminding me of my captions generator tool.
Yeah.
Where I upload a video into my browser, and then I've got FFmpeg running in. Gee, my brain something lets you run things like FFmpeg in the browser. So it extracts an MP. Yes. So you got WebAssembly FFmpeg running, and so suddenly I remember installing that, and I was like, spent 2 days trying to get FFmpeg to install. Could not get it to install. till finally you went, you know what? I'm setting up a React app, and boom, it just installed. Yeah, and I was asking ChatGPT, why is that going on? It goes, because everybody just generally defaults to React, and right. So now I've got everything React does just because I wanted to extract an MP3 from I'm building my site in React because the goddamn library that should be able to run without React. And it probably does, right? But I don't. This is the exact thing. I don't have the expertise to understand how to adapt that library to a generic use case.
Yeah.
Because all the documentation, all the libraries, all the testing, all the people who have used it, all default to React, right? And it's like that's the same. React is an abstraction around.
Oh, it is absolutely
HTML and JS, right? Maybe it's puts a DOM on top of the DOM.
But then you have, but then you have frameworks like Next.js that are an abstraction on top of React.
Yeah, I literally linked in the other day. There was an argument someone making. They were talking about. I didn't read the whole thing but one of the things they said I'd seen so many times before is almost an advocation for so many websites get built with frameworks that should just be HTML and JavaScript. And I'm like, yeah. But then you run into problems like that. As soon as you want to do something like plug in this goddamn library, you have to have React.
Yeah.
Right. And everything it's the same thing. You get everything in the kitchen sink, and it's like now I've got to learn how to debug React, and it's just it's frustrating. But a lot of the stuff I found in Odoo, I think AI helps a lot because you just ask how to do stuff. It goes, here, do it, and you go, thank you. Right? But a lot of this stuff just works because that's what I can define a model. I just define the model, and then you go and you create an XML file, and the XML file says, have you lost me again?
No,
no,
I can hear you.
Right. So you define a class, which is like a Drupal entity, and you give it some fields, and then you go to an XML file, and you just basically put a little bit of XML that says, I'm a list view for that model, and boom, now you've got a list. Right, that's so much easier than I'm not sure if it's so much easier than Drupal, or is it because AI just went here, do this? It was just easier I got results faster.
I think it's
I don't know if I think it is easier, but it's hard for me to judge because I'm kind of going, hey, ChatGPT, how do I do a list view? It goes like this, and you go, oh, thanks. You don't have to sit there and read 5 blogs that are wrong. Right? Even though ChatGPT's wrong, that's what I mean. It's wrong so often. That's just because it's funny how often its answers are obsolete.
Oh yeah. Oh,
right?
or it just makes things up.
Very quickly. Yeah, well, very quickly you start to recognize it. You look at it, you go, as soon as it dumps out the code, you go, "This done it." No, that's the wrong tag, right? Like you start to learn things just because ChatGPT makes the same mistake over and over and over again. So you go, I know 100% that's not the way to do that.
Well, that's it. But I recently had a problem with DDev, and it wasn't DDev's fault, but I was getting weird errors saying that like the amount of network adapters has been reached. And I'm like, I've never seen this error when I run Docker. And then I discovered, because I just chucked it into Claude, I chucked it in, and it goes that my allocated, because there is a set amount of network adapters you can have with projects on for your containers. And because I pretty much run a brand new a brand new DDev environment, like every week for my live streams, I do a brand new one. It creates a new network adapter for that container. And then at the same time for work, I can have sometimes 6 or 7 containers not running at the same time, but I just need to jump betbetween projects. And that
those networks are stored off in the
exactly. They're all kind of stored off.
You don't even know they're there.
I don't even know that, and I did not even knew this was a problem until I had the error. And now it's like, all right, okay, Claude Code fixed it up for me, but now I know. Now I know, and
that's exactly the sort of thing that's why. Like when you're at work, you sit there and you're working all day and you go, great. And I go, how's that going? You go, I'll have it finished tomorrow morning. And you come in the next morning and you boot up DDev and you spend the next 2 days fixing something. because something like that went wrong, right? Suddenly your hard drive filled up because there's too many volumes, or no, I don't know how to. Right.
That's kind of the big one for me.
Or the way Docker, upstream will update the image, and if you don't have the exact Docker commit pinned, the upstream image will run. I like, we're going years ago when Docker first came out. I went all the way to Christchurch, was there for like 5 days working in Christchurch, spent 4 of those days getting the Docker environment up and running, right? Because that just so happened that the image they were using, I already had a cached copy of on my computer, and they changed the underlying. So everybody else was just coming up and spinning up Docker and going poof, and they're up in 5 minutes. It took me 4 days because back then I didn't understand Docker, right? I didn't know that I needed to go in there and completely like do a prune -f -volume right, just to get, and eventually, because there was a cache copy of an old image of the same, just coincidentally they were using the same base image, and mine was incompatible, and I lost 5 days on a trip, right? And it's like, and that's the same thing. If I'd learnt Docker from the ground up, right? But then the IT industry goes, well, you can learn that on your own time. Yeah. Really? Right? So you spend a whole 8 hours a day, and you got to spend another 8 hours every day just to stay up to speed with the mass changes of that. You've got to know the entire stack inside out in case something goes wrong. Don't give me that.
Well, that's where I think it's important to understand that, like, I don't think you should focus on, well, I can't use this technology until I understand it fully, because you're never going to fully understand the technology. You learn by hitting these roadblocks, and
you're gonna hit them.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like, and you know how this, I've noticed that there's a lot of now these articles going around how using AI is making you dumber. You don't, you're not kind of learning things and this and that. But at the end of the day, okay, let's say this example that I had with DDev, where all of a sudden it stopped working, and I'm like, why isn't it working? And I'll get this random network error. I'm like, what the hell? Now, what is the difference between me asking a other developer that just knows straight away, oh yeah, that's how you do it? Like, there is no
fairly.
There is no difference.
Usually they either don't have time, or they give you some bullshit because they don't want to tell you they don't know.
Exactly.
Right? Which ChatGPT does too.
Yeah. And so, but I can see situations where if you don't put in the time of spending hours on a particular bug, which forces you to go down into the depths of the code, because AI just does stuff
you don't need to know.
Yeah. But sometimes it's just
I come out with my brain being. Well, sometimes in those fixing stuff, I go so deep and so complicated. By the time I fix it, I don't know what the bloody hell I did. I've just been in there, 100 different million settings, and suddenly it works now. I don't know.
True. But the thing is, though, you've kind of learned, you've kind of understood, and you could potentially be like, you could be in a situation where it's like, all right, now I understand the code base a bit better, but you wouldn't learn that. It's kind of like, it's kind of like back in the day when, before streaming services. Okay, you would watch things on TV every week. Okay, and so you would watch an episode. Like for me, I loved watching Stargate growing up, and I remember Thursday nights at 8:30 on Channel 7. There would be Stargate, and I watched it for years because every week I was able to watch just one episode, and my brain was able to process it. Nowadays, with streaming services, I could probably tell you,
season.
No, I could probably binge a whole episode, a season of something in a weekend, and I'll totally forget. A couple months later, I'll totally forget that I've watched that. It's because it hasn't had time to permeate through my brain to kind of spend its time. Whereas when you think about it, if you watch something over years, every week, your brain spends more time thinking about it. And I think with debugging code, if you just get AI to fix it up in 10 seconds, that's great. Yeah, you're productive. But if you spend 3 hours in some weird, obscure part of like any bit of code, you are going to learn something there that you wouldn't have learned otherwise.
It's an interesting thing because I notice I do rely on AI a lot to go just sometimes because I know paste this in there, fix it, cool, it works, and then sometimes explain that code, and often I do need to understand the code, or it doesn't work, and you need to sort of. Funny enough, a lot of the time I find that I'm talking ChatGPT through how to debug.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right, which is an interesting. Like I'm going, no, don't look there. No, look in this. Now grab this bit. Now what's that? Like, and I'm looking at the code. I don't know what that code does, but I know that's where you need to look. Or it's hitting it. It's hitting an error, and I'm going, look, stop. Show me the command I need to search through this particular model for that. And it goes, here's this big long grep thing. Yeah, fantastic. Boom. Because a grep command with all these different parameters and everything, that'll take me an hour to write the bloody search command, whereas ChatGPT can give it to me in a second.
Absolutely.
Great. So I can so I'm still, it's interesting. There is this playoff because there's a lot of code that it spits out that I don't sit there and read the entire bit. I skim it. You go, yeah. And I'm sure there's stuff slipping through, but there's this playoff because there'll be other bits of code where I'll go in and change something. It doesn't work. And you sit there and go, I don't know, Chat3G, fine. What do you go? And it goes, you've got an indentation. Now, God, right. So it's a real interesting, it's just going to change. It's going to some of the skill set the same, some of it's different. I can't quite put my hand on how that is, but like that whole experience of finding that I am, ChatGPT knows stuff that I don't, and I know stuff that it doesn't. Like I know how to debug better than it does. It just writes, it just goes on its thing and goes, try this, and you go, stop. First principles. And it's funny how you work with it like that. You can just tell it first principles, and it'll change the way it operates. Like you got to get specific sometimes and go, stop looking there. We need to go and add some debug statements. We need to, to look at this function and see exactly what's going on. And it's funny, you're telling ChatGPT, I need you to understand how this particular thing works. Put some debugging statements in there. And then it rewrites it. It takes the code, puts all the print statements in there, which would take you 20 minutes. But then ChatGPT sticks them in there in about 30 seconds. You run it, you take the log, you dump it in, and it goes, it's this. And you go, great, thank you. Right? It's but it doesn't come up with the idea of adding debug statements itself. You've got to tell it to do it. It's a really interesting. There's an interesting. I don't know. You need to be a developer to tell it what to do, but I don't know how you could learn to be a developer in the first place if you're using AI. Right? There's this bit of a chicken and egg thing going on. Right? As experienced developers, we know how to tell ChatGPT what to do, but there are 10-year-olds. There are 5-year-olds out there now sitting there building stuff with ChatGPT with no idea what they're doing. And in 20 years' time, they're going to be operating these tools in ways we've never even thought of.
Yeah.
So we've said it before, the genie's out of the bottle. I think all sorts of people running around doing all sorts of things, trying to keep, it's a very conservative approach, trying to keep things the way they were. And it's like that ship's already sailed, man.
Oh yeah. Like AI is here to stay. Like don't like it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not an ethical thing. It's whether you agree with it or not. It's not going. You can sit there and go, oh, what if the courts ban it? No, that's not how the world works. No one's going to turn around and say no more AI. It's just not going to happen. That's a dream.
Exactly. But I've had people. Well, one person commented a while ago on LinkedIn, and I mentioned something about AI, and the comment was, oh, you shouldn't be pushing AI stuff. It's bad for the environment. It's bad for this. It's bad for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but the thing is though, how can I change? Like, and I'll just read you this out. So I've been looking at, jobs lately, and I found one job for a actual SaaS application that does alerts and uptime monitoring. And one of the things is to use AI. So in its job description, it has use AI to aggressively ship high quality code. We expect you to be on top of the latest tools, models, trends in AI assisted software engineering. We think that using AI is no longer optional, which is right. We expect you to be amazing at prompting, to know when to leverage different models, and have first-hand experience with Claude, Cursor, OpenCode, others. Now, this comes back to the whole
Yeah,
thing
which
about,
I'm still pasting. I'm still pasting code straight in the ChatGPT.
Yeah, I know,
so
I know.
couldn't like that. So I'm behind the ball already.
Yeah, which
Interesting.
is
The ship high quality code fast. Every time people talk about high quality code, I'm like, I've never seen it.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got really high standards for what good quality code is. I think 99% of people never even seen what good quality code looks like. This industry's so new and has grown so fast, and now AI is making it boom even more. That statement, the ship high quality code fast. I'm like,
well, let's all agree.
Quality enough.
Exactly. Exactly. Let's all agree. Nobody cares about the quality of the code.
I do.
They just
That's
want
the problem.
The business doesn't care about it as long as you're shipping code.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. They put high quality in there, but then it's like,
But yeah, but I would be curious to see what life is like in these places where they have accepted AI, which I have.
Well, even Fedora just released their AI policy that they did. Like I was watching Brody Robertson's channel. He was digging into all the Fedora projects.
Yeah,
has a very long policy, and they're basically, we're accepting it like this because you can't not. Right? So yes, we're going to accept AI generated code now, but you need to, that gets all into the drama of being very precise with their language. This is what's been the same with social media too. When you use AI, you need to say so. Yeah, but at what point does using AI? Because if I go to ChatGPT and go, what's a good title for my video? Now I've used AI, even if I didn't use AI on any, like there's the degrees of it, and that's Fedora's had to have that conversation too. Like, if I go and ask it like it's a Slack thing, go, how do you do this? And it gives me the code. Do I now to go, it's completely,
exactly.
You're not going to take my code because ChatGPT wrote 2 lines of a broken function for me? Or there's a big difference between going into ChatGPT and go, build me a Thunderbird clone, right? I don't think there's a tool out there that could do that. I don't care how many people show me videos of one-shot app building. It's like, what a load of crap. But there's so many varying degrees of utilizing AI, and so of course they've allowed it in because it's coming.
Yeah,
it's coming.
Absolutely.
You're not going to be able to function if you don't. I don't think there's a project whether you ban the use of AI code anyway, it's still going to end up in your repository. All these people that think they can spot AI code, bull. Bull. You can spot bad AI code. You can spot AI code that no one put any effort into, right? But if somebody actually took that code and then cleaned it and fed it back and told the AI that's not the right approach, do it this way instead, this is wrong, you're not going to spot that.
Yeah.
Right? Especially if they go through and clean up all the markers like the emojis in comments and stuff.
Yeah, but that can easily be cleaned up with a rule. You can just add a rule to your constitution file and say, okay, don't put in emojis, don't put in this, don't put in that.
See, I'm working on my own project. I like them. When I ask it to go and put a bunch of print statements and it puts the emojis in there and you see the output, and the output's so much easier to understand. Like, thank you.
Oh,
right?
There's no
Those
harm.
Emojis actually work, right?
Let's not now, poo-poo emojis. I love using them in like outputting things.
But I never used them myself because you've got to either have some tool where you go out and look up the code or you got to memorize it. Now AI just puts them in there. And
my hardest thing is
quite happy to.
My hardest thing is actually figuring out which emoji to use. So I use AI to actually give me recommendations because that's the hardest thing. It's like, well, which emoji represents this particular thing? And it's like, no.
These are the things. These are the things I was when I first saw AI. I briefly hoped would happen, but it's not going to. Is to do things like come up with good variable names. I do it all the time.
Yeah.
He writes code, and I'm like, I'll just sit there and go, give me a list of 10 variable names and rate how good they are, and you go boom, 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 and it'll give you a recommendation. You go, nah, that one. And it's like, but that's because the amount of times I've spent time just going, I don't know what this data that I'm storing is called. I don't know how to describe what type it is, but AI can just go here. Oh, that's great, right? But right, because AI writes bad code, right? It writes the average kind of code, you do a loop. It uses I and J. Like it is sometimes put short variable names in there. Yep. It hard codes things. Like I'm trying to write all this stuff to export the module at the moment. The amount of time I've got to remind AI, no. Because I go, this is not working. And it goes, here, just put this if statement, just give this code and you see it. And it goes, if model equals blah. And I'm like, no, stop it. You guys, I've told you before, ChatGPT, don't do that. Like, you can look it up dynamically. It goes, yes, you can. And then rewrites it to look it up dynamically. And you're like,
yeah.
Right. It's kind of, if I don't believe you can write a one-shot application. It's not got to write good quality code. For things like that, it hard codes things in if you don't tell it not to.
You can write it, but
yeah, and so it's an interesting, but the same thing I saw Brody talking about it. One of the good use cases, which first time I've heard someone mention it, is if English is not your first language and you're working on an English project, then using ChatGPT to write your questions and your commit messages is a bloody good idea. And I'm like, that's one of the first use cases I thought of.
Absolutely.
Right? And I don't care if English is your second language. I think everybody should be passing their goddamn bloody questions and feedback. Because I go on to Drupal and you go and read this question. I don't understand a single word written on that goddamn issue. All right.
Yeah.
I'm about 2 sentences in and I've got 20 questions. And I use AI for that, right? But it's not 20 questions about how the technology works, about 20 questions to resolve the ambiguity.
Yeah.
It's I don't know what you're talking about. And then that's I'm two questions in to a long description about this long with 100 comments on it. So I've always had that problem with open source. I want to help on this thing, but it's going to take me a week just to decipher what the hell you people who didn't bother to think it. I'm kind of, but it's like, did you even think about that? And then people respond. I don't know how you understand what they're saying.
Yeah,
because it's half written, it's half. And I always come back to it. I don't get why developers do it when the entire job is to write code that has to be syntactically and logically correct and clear. Otherwise, the computer just says straight up no. Mm-hmm. And as soon as they stop writing code, they just write whatever, don't review, don't edit, don't run it through they don't link it. Right? And it's like, my brain works like the computer. I don't have a clue what you're talking about. Syntax error, can't compute, I'm done.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, to come back to this whole thing about AI and for languages. So as I don't know, some people may or may not be aware, like I'm living in Croatia and Croatia isn't my first language. So I'm not I can speak it, not that well. I'm working on it though. But so many times we've heard colloquial sayings where Google Translate, no chance. You chuck it into Gemini or Chat GPT and you literally say, like with us, we're living in Split. So it's like Split, blah, blah, blah. They say this and this, and we get an answer. You say things in this way, colloquial, and things like that. So for that, it's been amazing. Been absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
For just little things like that. And you get the official way and the kind of more casual way. And then you can ask it questions. That's the thing. You can say, why is it this way?
Why? Yeah.
Why?
That's my most common question. See, that's one of my gripes with ChatGPT. When GPT-5 came out, I found it way worse. I think I feel like it went from being my saving grace. Now I've got something that I can communicate with to ChatGPT-5 speaks like a bloody normie. I'm like, oh no. Like the amount, it literally does that thing where I'll ask it a question and I'll go, why did you do that? And it'll go, here you go, and give me a different answer. And I'm like, no, I wanted to know why you did that. It's like, and that's one of the issues I've had with people before. It's like, when I ask you why you did that, because I want to know why you did that, so I can understand what the thought process was and whether I'm missing something or how that actually works. It wasn't a request for you to do it differently. I didn't and I find ChatGPT does that now. It's like it reads between the lines. I go, but there is when I ask why did you do that, it's because I wanted to know the philosophy behind that answer, not. it wasn't a rep, and it seems to interpret why did you do that as and other things, right? It's funny. It's much more human and just like, oh no, I get quite frustrated with it because now you've dirtied my context. Now I've got two, because it's like I asked you why you did that, and you go, "I'm sorry, I'll do it like this instead." And I go, now I've got two of them. I need to ask you why you did that. Why? It's like, oh, now I've got double the decision fatigue I had before. I find that really stressful, right? To understand the way you did it, and now you've given me two options, and I need to understand both of them, and I find that frustrating. And but it's really funny how it seems to have, when ChatGPT 5 came out, it got more human in that way. Some people talk about it not being intelligent. I go, it's damn good at reading between the lines, mistakenly, like humans do. I talk about being very literal, but I'm not always. I'm not 100% literal. I can use subtext and double speak and stuff as well. But that's when I'm dealing with a computer and I'm trying to solve a technical problem. I need precision and literalism, right? That's
absolutely, yeah. But what was it? Just recently, I'm actually working on this week's live stream. I'm working on because I skipped last week because I was feeling a bit cold, so I was a bit annoyed with myself. I was like, I'm an ahhing if I should just do some type of random live stream because I like to keep the weekly thing. For me, it's my thing. It's like if I give up 1 week, that's it. I don't want to give up on it.
Yeah.
But this week is going to be about building content workflows in Drupal. Okay. Like, it's not the greatest, but I like to, with my streams, I like to do, easy ones and hard ones because hard ones, require a bit of preparation and I like to mix and match. And sometimes I'm like, all right, let me just get a quick and easy one out. But live streams,
no effort November.
Yeah, that's it.
November.
Well, every single video can't be a banging video. You can't just put out a banger out there every single time. You have to pick and choose. And so this is about content workflows. And so there is a module called workflow, not plural. And then Drupal core has a module called workflows. And it's like, okay, I look in the issue queue and somebody's like, can we officially document the difference between this workflow module and content moderation? Because the workflow module is still being updated, still being maintained, it's still being all this stuff. And it's like, and
then there's so you got workflows and content moderation.
Well, workflows in Drupal core works with content moderation as well. So there's that issue about it in the project saying, can we just have a official difference? Like, what is the difference between them? And I was like, oh, this sucks. Okay. So I open up Claude Code and this is what I do with a lot of my streams, especially with new modules. I ask Claude Code to go in there and give me a report on what this module does. But the funny thing is that I asked it, okay, here is the workflow module. How do I do this? No, sorry. Here's a workflow. Here's a workflow module. How do I use it? And it gives me this nice BS. I realized about just go to this path and enter in your states and this like that. And I go to the path and it's page not found. And then I'm like, okay, Claude, can you actually look at the routing.yaml file and verify that these URLs actually exist? It's like you have the code there. You have the code.
Yeah.
Why are you hallucinating fake paths? And it's like, okay, yes, great idea. So he's like, okay.
That's exactly.
So it's like,
my experience with ChatGPT.
But then after that, it actually verified. Well, I assume so, because I told it, okay, I actually said, if you are going to give me a path, verify in the code that it actually exists. And Claude Code has been great for that. To kind of answer your question, what is the difference between workflow and workflows? Well, you'll have to wait till Friday. No.
No, go on.
Essentially, they're 50% the same. It's just that the workflow module works at the field level, whereas workflows and content moderation work at the revision level. So if you have a situation where you want like a piece of content to be had to have some type of like arbitrary workflow, because you may want just some random block to have a simple workflow, but you don't want the whole craft behind it of revisions and stuff like that. So that's where it's, but again, it's one of these things where it's kind of similar, but not similar. Just like everything in Drupal is like, oh yeah, you can use it for this, but if you want to use it for this specific use case, you should use this other module, but you don't know that you should be using this other module until you're like 6 months down the line, and then you realize that no, you've gone the wrong way.
Until it's too late. Yep. See, that's funny. Funny how much Odoo's got similar sort of things. Like that's I got up and running. I went in there.
Software.
I clicked in there. I made some accounts, and now that I'm moving forward and going, it's like all those accounts are just living in the database.
Yeah.
I've got no code reference of those, but it's so easy just to create them as an XML file. So you turn your module on, and it just creates those accounts. Those kind of mistakes. You do the exact same thing in Drupal. Drupal always being sold as no code. It wasn't always sold like that, but there was this underlying theme of the site builder experience. Site builder, no code. It's the same, synonymous as far as I'm concerned. Right?
Well,
but so you can open up your Drupal site, you go in there, you create a content type, you create this, you create that, and as soon as you've done like 6 or 10 content types with relationships and stuff before we had configuration export, you've got to carry your database around. Like there's no but I don't think Odoo's got that kind of configuration. Definitely doesn't seem to have much of a difference between content and config like Drupal does.
Yeah.
As far as I can tell, like you just content and config are the one and the same thing, right?
Yeah.
That's very whereas Drupal, there's a big grey area. Hence why you've got modules like that. Menu items, content module that turns menu items into content. That's but but Odoo. So some of the things, that seems to just right. So there's some things about it that are really. I do like it running as a daemon because it's got cron built in.
Yeah.
But that blew me away. Like because I'm going to have to go set up. I did set up cron and then discovered that and I go, because ChatGPT, okay, ChatGPT, how do I set up cron? Spend a day setting up cron, spent all night debugging cron. And then the next day I go, right, now how do I get Odoo to trigger it? It goes, you go here and then, so Odoo's got its own cron built in. Wish I'd known that before. Because Odoo just sits there and runs as a single service. So it can just go every minute, I'm going to go check this thing and spin it off. Drupal doesn't work. Drupal's not alive unless you ping it, right? That was a really interesting, and I really like that. Like it's one of the. I really like that. There's this. You can just set, and they don't call it cron. It's scheduled actions, right? But it's cron. Right.
Yes.
So that was.
Yes. To be honest, it's just called. Smells like cron. Looks like cron. It's cron.
Yeah. Technically, it's not cron, but it does the exact same job. But it's just that's really nice. That's really nice. My big gripe is the dependency structures on it. There's little thing. One of my little pet hates is the delete functions called unlink.
Oh.
That bugs the hell out of me.
Does it unlink or does it actually delete?
No, it deletes.
Oh, okay.
It's just like me having a big whinge at ChatGPT. Who did that? Who wrote a function that deletes and called it unlink?
Yeah.
Right. And you can sort of. I was whinging in another chat channel, and someone goes, "To be fair, that's what that API is called in Linux." I go, I know, but the one in Linux doesn't always delete. Sometimes it just marks for deletion. This unlink always deletes. That's the like you've missed a nuance, and it's like. But it bugs me because language change. Now anybody who's sort of come into IT and learning through Odoo, he's not going to understand that unlink and delete are different because the unlink in Odoo is delete.
Yeah,
it's right, and I'm like, I don't like that. And it's one of those. Why are you being clever? Right, you had a choice between calling it delete and unlink, and you called it unlink. And the only reason I can think you've done that is because you thought it was more professional or clever or smarter to call it unlink, but you didn't get the nuance, and then you turned out to be wrong. Right? It's kind of sorry to whoever did it.
Yeah.
It was probably the guy that built Odoo back in 2008. But there's a couple of things. It turns out ChatGPT tells me it's a Python thing. It was talking because I'm doing this migrate, and it was going, you need to output it as a singleton. Like, what? What's a singleton got to do with exporting a column from a database? Like, I'm just like, right. But in Python land, Python calls like a record that can only have one row in it a singleton. And I'm like, oh, I hate that. Oh, that's not what it like. Cause I was just reading singleton and just going, I don't understand this at all. What the hell's, I know what it, like, it's like I'm reading it. I know what a singleton is. I do not understand why that word's in this sentence. Right. But, and see, that's just, I just find that stuff, there's weird things like that are, you know, that's being a PHP dev coming to Python. I still can't quite, I don't like the word tuple. It just doesn't, it sounds horrible.
Yeah.
A tuple. And I'm never, ever, ever, ever going to forgive Python for not having curly brackets for their scoping. Never. Never. The amount of times my code hasn't worked because the indent's wrong.
Yeah.
And I can't navigate. I can't, my what do you call it, muscle memory for how to jump from one bracket to another. You know, you're at the bottom of a function, you just want to jump to the top. You can just jump between brackets and everything in Vim. My Vim foo, and suddenly you're like, what do you mean you don't have brackets? I don't like it at all. I'm never gonna. There's a lot about it I do like, and it's very hard to explain because, like everything, the stuff that you like is hard to see because you don't trip over it, right? It's kind of, it doesn't stand out. It's, you know, when things just work, you don't notice they just work because they just work. But when they don't work, you bloody well notice it, right? So there's like but that's those things I did notice. I can just, you know, hey, ChatGPT, I need a new model. It goes, here you go, boom. I go, I need a new field, and it just puts this bit of code on the model about that long, and it shows up in the list. It shows up in the UI. If it's a reference, they just shows up on the form in, you know, the Drupal needs a whole stack of boilerplate. That's just really nice, you know. But then there's so much coming out in Drupal. See that the canvas and the experience builder, so much of that AI stuff, or the MCP. Of course, with the big dreams I've got for my product, I'm going to go. Drupal's going to come back into play again. You know, there's a lot of Odoo AI stuff, but from what I'm sniffing out in Drupal's 1,000 years ahead in their AI integrations and stuff with all that MCP interaction. So I'd really like to get Odoo to the point where I kind of use it as a RESTful endpoint. Yeah. Which is why I don't like that it comes with everything in the kitchen sink, because I just want the accounting bit, right?
Oh, yeah.
Give me that. I don't want all the other stuff. Now I've got to worry about the security and the, you know, because you go to the security groups and there's 100 different groups that my users automatically added to that I've got to understand and wrap my head around. If those modules weren't installed, they wouldn't be there. It'd be a lot easier to understand. But with all the, you know, flipping books on eBay, because one of the ideas I've got is being able to, you know, take the book, scan the cover and maybe the title page, stick it into an AI and go, who's the title, who's the author, what year was it printed? Yeah. Give us an idea of the condition, dump that into a JSON file in MCP, talk to my database, put the listing up in draft so I can come back later. But because, you know, at the moment, photographing these, you photograph them, copy it in there, type the title, type the name, type the thing. If I had a tool where I could just go click, take a photo, put that in a thing, and then an AI just sits there consuming the photos I send up and producing the listings and having them sitting there batched out for me to just come along and review, click. I'm like, that'd be a game changer. So, but then that's the sort of, see, Odoo does really good listing management and inventory. It's got that stuff built in. There's probably modules to do inventory management in Drupal, but I doubt they're as good as what Odoo's got. Definitely doesn't have an accounting module that's anywhere near as good. But then Drupal's going to kick ass on MCP, so I'm going to want to be using Drupal with all that the MCP and the bloody acronym, the else then that other ECA module or whatever.
Oh yeah,
all
ECA,
that stuff seems to be going. Yeah, right. So at some point I've got to turn around and go back to Drupal and go, because that's gonna handle that kind of work really well. So I think my end game is very much going to be a Drupal and Odoo thing. But then is that just because I knew Drupal, so I've got a hammer, everything looks like a nail, and now I understand Odoo too, so I'm using Odoo and Drupal. And there's probably other tools out there that are better for it that I just don't know. Who knows? But
who knows?
I'm building something amazing here. And having this weird experience of learning Odoo the hard way from the inside out. I spent a bit of time at first reading through the developer docs and stuff.
Yeah.
Got a base, but then went through the basic onboarding and then jumped in the deep end.
That's the best way.
I don't know anything. I don't know anything about its front end. I've done entirely back end work when it comes to changing the way JavaScript widgets and stuff, their whole OWL framework and their whatever. No idea, but the menu system seems easier to use than Drupal too. Same thing is open up an XML file and you go menu parent in an XML file, off you go. Drupal doing menus and stuff, every time you've got a menu, you got to sit there and read 3 chapters of how menus work again with like 4 different tables. And are they still that hard? Yeah. Every time you want to add a link to a page or something, maybe it's because I'm working with ChatGPT so much. It just goes here, add this, add this file, add this file, add this file. But I swear, when you just want to add a tab to a page in Drupal, you've got to edit 5 different goddamn files and get them all exactly right, or nothing happens.
Yeah.
Like that's my dev is in. So I am not quite sure how much of it's just because Odoo's easy or because ChatGPT is just pointing me to the answer very quickly. Right? That's well,
it's a bit of both. Well, it's experience as well. Come on, you know what you're doing. That's the thing.
I don't. That's what I really. It's one of my favorite catchphrases. I want to get it on a shirt. Is knowing what you're doing is overrated.
Oh, true.
It really is. I think because there's a lot of people who can achieve a lot of great stuff and not really know what they're doing. And there's a lot of stuff I've achieved. I don't know everything about what I've just put that there. It's great, right? Getting the results anyway. And then the other reason why it's overrated, because when you do know what you're doing, you start getting frustrated with those that don't. So I've got a couple of reasons why knowing what you're doing is overrated.
Yeah.
Sometimes ignorance is bliss, right? That's that's a classic philosophical thing. There's a lot of people who have changed the world and made amazing differences who were too naive to know they couldn't do it, right?
Well, that's it.
So
that's it.
Right.
All right. Well, let's finish up there then. It's a nice way to finish it. Yeah.
We're just coming to an end. Thanks.
All right.
See you guys next time we do a video. We've got to do them more often. Get in our comments and tell us we're crap and dragging our feet, because if you want to hear from us, well, see, if we heard from our community that they want to hear from us, we'd do it more.
Yeah, that's true. So it's their fault. No, it's not.
It's all your fault.
But also give us ideas.
It's all your fault. I'm a lazy bastard.
Just give us ideas as well. That'd be good.
Yeah. And I've had a lot of opinions. If we're going to put Odoo tags all over this, so Odoo guys tell me I'm stupid and I'm wrong, because I'm sure I've said some stuff that's not right, because I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, yeah. All right, cool.
All right.
Take
See ya.
care.